everybody to the Ortelius October 9th outreach meeting. Some just a little bit of housekeeping. This kind of came up on the architecture meeting, I think, last week. We are going to redo the calendar invites because some of them are missing from people's calendars and stuff like that. So we're going to get in and do some calendar updates. So those will go out to the Google group. So that's where everybody should be members of the Google groups, and then you'll get notified with the new calendar changes and stuff. And hopefully we'll get things like the right host codes and things like that in place, so things are easier to get moving along. And we'll also make sure that the CDF calendar is in sync as well. So you could either look at the Ortelius one or look at the CDF one. That's the plan. We'll see how well it goes. You never know with Google Calendars and Zoom. So that was the one housekeeping thing I had.
All right. We are considering, since we are the outreach committee, I want to talk today about what you guys want to do about our December holiday party. It takes some time to get it pulled together, so we have about 60 days to do it, so we need to start thinking about it. Should we continue doing one? Should we just do an annual one in May and not do the holiday party? Should we just do a holiday party and not do talks? What's everybody's thoughts?
I'm good with holiday party. I like the holiday party. Like when we all get together and have fun.
Yeah, I like the holiday party, and whether we do talks, I can go either way on that. I think that the 10-minute lightning talks works well versus the longer format. And I think we got the logistics of Twitch and all that sorted out. So that's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, I think combination of games and lightning talks would make more sense.
Okay.
I mean, we could do scale it back to like 4 lightning talks or something like that, which would put it, just under a half hour.
Okay.
Or just over a half hour for 4 10-minute ones.
Going down to 4 lightning talks, games, beer and donuts. So, yeah. Okay. We will work on doing that. So I will put out so let's look at the calendar. Let's figure out what day it should be. Try to do it the early part. How about we do it? What days are best? I think we've done them on Fridays in the past.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it doesn't conflict with other meetings and stuff. How about Friday the 8th?
Friday is good for me. Friday is always the best day for me.
Okay. We'll do it Friday the 8th then, and that is exactly 60 days from now.
Ah, cool.
What's the timing there?
We usually do it in the mornings.
Morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do it like at a half hour earlier than this one. So
yeah, we start at 9 to 10. We do our beer and donuts, hand out, announce everybody's badges, chat, and then we switch over to Twitch. We usually do it for 4 hours, but we can do the holiday party. If we only do 4 10-minute talks, that's an hour of presentations. So we probably get it done in 2.5 hours or 2 hours.
Yeah, I think if we can even just do beer and donuts for a half hour and the awards.
Okay.
And then jump into the lightning talks and try to wrap it up in under, like an hour and a half. I think that'll be easier on everybody's schedule.
Sounds good to me.
Is there any
Maybe you
particular?
for me. Sorry, Tracy.
No worries. Is there any kind of particular topic that we want to cover in terms of lightning talks? You think we want to ask for talks in particular areas?
I think one of the new ones, and we may be able to get Sasha or Kat to work on the Pulami one, which is an alternative to Terraform and Helm.
That's cool. I'm also working on, like I told you, Nasty, this thing called TerraSpace, which is like a framework for infrastructure as code to make it easier for people. And then you can go, it takes care of multi-region cross-account cloud scenarios for you. So you don't really have to do much. So I think as a community, it would be really cool because I want to build a scenario like that with Ortelius, since we won't have our cloud environment anymore. And then people on Ortelius can simulate with local stack that a cross-account, cross-region environment if they want to.
Yeah, and I think like Arvin just dropped in the chat, something around local stack too would be a good topic.
You know, and I think Arvin also posted a thing where as open source we can get free licensing. So it would be great if we could push that through for Ortelius members. I don't know how that would work, but
yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah,
because I know some of them. Yeah, I'll have to put that in my to-do list. Or Arvin, if you want to look into the details and just shoot me off the stuff to review.
And instead of having 4 lightning talks, we could just have we could just do almost a training on that topic.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I would have to pass it off to, maybe we reach out to Kat, Steve, and Sasha. Could you guys, and maybe Arvin, put your heads together and decide if you want to do something like that? Maybe like a 30-minute educational presentation that says this is how you can get these environments set up.
Yeah.
Especially with Pulumi, right? Be cool to hear what Kat's got to say. So I'd love to hear what Kat give us like a short demo.
Well, that's where we'd have to figure out if we would want to do it live or recorded or a mix.
I would say we would try to record that so that
it's so much easier from the broadcasting side if it's recorded.
Yeah.
Would it be like a good idea to present some topics around MLOps and AI, generative AI that we are doing?
That's a great idea, Karsh.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, so recently I presented in my university regarding genetic algorithms, which like in turn used to improve models that we use in machine learning. I'll think how I can, integrate. We don't have models as such, but if we have models, so we can leverage the same concept here. So
yeah, and even if we're not to the models, if we're not at that point of having models, but we have an idea of just a roadmap of how we want to approach it, I think that would be good to lay out for everybody.
Yeah. So on that front, Steve, did you had any meetings regarding that? So
no, I was gonna sort that out for next week. I was gonna send out on Discord some time slots for people.
Okay.
Well, at this point, then I think that the format for the holiday party would be we could do beer and donuts. We switch over to Twitch, do some games. Have a presentation on Pulami and the switch from Terraform, which I'm assuming we're going to include in that. and a presentation around how we can start building models. So it's interesting that you bring that up, Utkarsh, because Steve and I have been talking a lot about models. And in fact, I'll put it out here for you guys. So we had an opportunity, I guess I can't do it this way. We had an opportunity to present a request for information to the US government around what everybody thinks the US government should be focused on around security. And I did submit about a centralized evidence store, a continuous watch, and a first response system that we could continue growing the data and bringing in having open source communities register their packages, as well as reviewing workflows to start building some decent models. Right now, there's no, the problem with machine learning and DevOps is it does require some clean, highly organized data.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any. It'd be nice to continue working on this to make Ortelius that data source. Yes, Sasha?
We can create data using synthetic AI, and we can run it internally. There's a company called Mostly AI. They generate synthetic data using AI. And
Really?
if you're not, yeah, this is amazing. I've been to meet them twice, and I can't wait to have some excuse to use their product. If you're not happy with using it in their cloud because of maybe your data is, very sensitive, you're not happy with them, they only need to read it. They can generate synthetic data up to like 97, 96% accuracy, 98% accuracy, depending. Yeah.
That is a great idea.
Mostly AI. So basically what you could do is you could run it inside Ortelius, reading the Ortelius database and generate a whole bunch of data that way using their synthetic data AI tool. Yeah. I'll post it in the Discord channel. Because everyone has that talent, right? Especially if you're in a very regulated industry, like credit card information.
What is it called? What is the
Mostly AI.
Mostly AI.
Yeah, I'll send it to you now. Oh, here it is. I've got a shortcut here.
Well, that would give us a starting point to start building the models against. I wonder how you tell it to. Yeah, I'll have to check it out too. Let me see.
I'm going to put in the chat here.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, the URL is enormously long. I have no idea why. It's just.
It was generated by AI generated URL.
Fine, real.
Well, I'll hide it in the notes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing we can start doing is in the new year, we can try to get a team of us together. Maybe this is something that I can work on, something that Jean can work on, that we start bringing in some of the open source projects. I'd love to get Jenkins into Ortelius. And it just means somebody's got to do it. It doesn't, all the data is out there to start bringing it in.
Well, what we need to do from a technical standpoint is we need to really figure out how to spy on these things without having to be ask somebody to make a PR and change their workflow. So we have to figure out a passive way to grab this data.
Yeah, if you're not happy running with their cloud environment, you can actually run their tool internally inside your own cloud if you want.
Yeah, it's true. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I posted the links for you in this chat and in Discord.
Okay. Synthetic data. It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. So so many use cases. Insane. I mean, and they've got sample data in there. So you can see exactly the kind of graphing and information it would build for you.
Sasha, will you create an issue that puts out there that we're going to start looking at mostly AI for creating some synthetic data,
Yeah, cool.
just so we have it.
And the DevOps, Ortelius DevOps. Or what? Yeah.
So I'm curious, do you know if it can extend data, or when you leverage it to generate this synthetic data, can you seed it? Or do you seed it with example data?
Yeah, you allow it to read your, I mean, this is the part where some people probably maybe have a bit of a wobble. It just needs to read your live database or your current database, and it uses that data to transform your data into synthetic data. So it'll obviously takes out all the real information, right, and just replaces it. But you get this pristine schema, right, of your database, and that's what's just the beauty of it. Does that answer your question, Brian?
Yes, it does. Thanks. I
Cool.
was just pulling on the thread of limited Jenkins data or data from use case environment X. Can we structure it in a way that we could point something like a mostly AI solution at it?
That's exactly what you do. It just needs read only, and it'll generate that data for you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
And there's different modes. So like the faster you make it work, the less accurate, right? The slower you make it work, the more accurate. Yeah, because they've got like these different modes, like turbo mode and like slower, more accurate mode kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it says it needs 5,000 subjects or more to generate the additional data. So we may lack some subjects. But let's just look at it anyway. Let's see where it gets us. I wonder how much it costs to do it.
I think some of it was
would be
free.
Well,
Yeah,
even
got
if it costs
free
us some.
pricing model.
Nice.
What did it say? How much?
There's teen and there's enterprise. I think they called £3 per credit.
Okay.
Yeah, even if it costs us some, Deploy Hub would pay for that. So let's go ahead and look into it, because I think it gives us an opportunity to start building models in, because it's hard to build models without any data. And we have some data, but I don't think we have enough.
So, this can act as a starting point, but at some point we would need some real data, because statistic data will start with a linear function, then will increase the degree of that function, but we don't know how much degree we can increase for that model function. So at some point we'll need some data. Yeah,
and I feel like we need to get if we were spying on open source projects and bringing in their data and capturing their history, then we can start really doing better trend modeling, because what we don't have, even with the synthetic data, is what's happening in the changes, which is where some of the risk occurs. So, for example, in the log4j example, if organizations realized how dependent they were on log4j, they may have been watching some of these that and other open source projects more carefully in terms of when new versions came out, what was happening to them. But right now, it's just being shoveled over to them, and they have no insights about it. So some of the trends that were happening, I think, are important to start modeling. So if one highly used a library is being updated on a regular basis, then there's some risk level to it, right?
Sure, I'd love
and
to
our
tell
model
the thing.
should be able to be able to say there's a risk to this library because it's used by 70% of the open source tools, and it's being updated every 3 days.
Yeah.
We're kind of diving into the technical details, but the big thing that we need to figure out is how to tie a git commit to an artifact in a passive way by looking at the workflows, executions. Because that's the one thing that when we put Ortelius in the pipeline, we're able to bridge that gap very easily. But if we're looking at it from an outside perspective, you have these workflows that run, but you have no idea what artifacts are really creating. And that maybe something that we can figure out for some of the languages at least, and that would get us pretty far in doing grabbing all this open source data pretty quickly.
I think that should be something we really should focus on next year.
So do you want to ingest data from other open source projects, right? By pointing this thing at, like, I mean, what do you point it at GitHub
Git
or at a
commits.
repo level? At a repo level.
Yeah, so actually at the action that's creating the artifact. So
I just need to read the API really.
yeah, so what we need to know is, like in our case, we need to know that this commit created this Docker image. And once we have that relationship, then you can go and say, I want to go grab the Docker image and get the SBOM from it. You know, so you can do all this stuff later on once you know that this git commit and this Docker image are tied together. Same thing with like an npm or a PyPy thing. You know, all that is, you just need to know that relationship, which doesn't exist most of the time. But once we have it, then you can go and create SBOMs and do all the fancy stuff down the road, because you've tied the two together, and then you have a high degree of accuracy.
I wonder if that's something that we can work with the OpenSSF. If we had something like that we could add to scorecard.
Well, so we can look at all of the logs for like GitHub Actions. You can, for public repos, you can go look at the actions that ran, and you can look at the logs. So it's just a matter of parsing the logs to figure out what they created.
All right. Well, again, Steve, would you create an issue for that, maybe for our 11.0 release?
Yep. But again, I think there's ways to start gathering this data for the data analysis piece. I think that's going to be a good focus. And like I said, for our December party, even if we just have the use cases out and kind of the roadmap of how we're going to approach it, and then lay out to the group, this is X, Y, and Z that need to happen for us to make all this happen. And things like the synthetic data, you know, we could possibly use it to fill gaps and things like that. Right.
So just to-dos on the holiday party, if Sasha, Arvind, and Steve reach out to Kat and find out if she's would be interested in doing some kind of a Pulumi, give us a 30-minute overview on Pulumi and how we're using it for the to be shown on October 8th. So it'd have to get done sometime the week before. Udkarsh, do you want to follow up on the ML ops and the AI topic?
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously Hacktoberfest has started. So I'm actually going in and approving one of the first PRs for that.
Woohoo! That's exciting.
So we just need to make sure that the PRs are tagged with Hacktoberfest.
Ooh.
All right. Is there anything else, since we are 2 minutes into the top of the hour? I think we covered a lot of stuff. We added a lot of stuff to our plate.
Good.
Which is good. Those are two good topics. Yeah, really good topics. And Sasha, thank you for bringing up the mostly AI. You always bring up something for us to think about. Last week was, what is that tool called? That networking tool?
Oh, that one.
Zero.
Yeah.
You talked about that
Zero
networking
tier.
tool. That's
Zero
right,
tier.
zero tier. Yeah.
Mm.
And I'm going to leave that one to the architecture committee to review and discuss, as well as the mostly AI, because that is, again, partly architecture, but we'll leave it in this discussion because we're all technical and we like to jump to those topics. We need
I'll drop
Simon
another-
here to keep us straight.
To help you with observability, I'm going to put another one in the dev channel. Called Talk. Everyone struggles to see what's going on in their software and their data. I'll put it in here too.
Okay. Crash override.
Yeah. Trying to close the visibility gap.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
All right. Okay. Anybody else
Cool.
got anything they'd like to share? All righty then. Thank you all so much for attending, and we will speak to you soon.
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Enjoy
Bye-bye.
your
Thanks. Have
day.
a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.